The original Rainbow Six released on a multitude of consoles after its initial release, and as such, it had a variety of differences with each port. From a faithful 1-to-1 port on the Sega Dreamcast to a very bad PS1 port, all the way to an amazing N64 port, there truly was a version for everyone, including a handheld for the Game Boy Color. This version of the game is the very first version of Rainbow Six I ever played. I got this as a present when my family was moving across country. I had a Game Boy Advance, and this was, and still is, my only physical Game Boy Color game. And it's not very good. It's not awful, in fact, it's actually really impressive. This is the complete PC game on a Game Boy Color, just from a different perspective. Instead of being an FPS game, it's a top-down game. Well, there actually is an FPS part, but I don't know where that is and have no idea how to get to it. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't bother beating this game, and that's because it's just not fun. After getting past the initial impressive nature of this being a faithful PC port, it's just not fun to play. The game is too slow, the controls are clunky, the AI is stupid and pose no challenge. The only issue with the game is fighting against the boredom of playing this game and traversing the massive maps this game has. Plus, I have no idea how the stealth missions would work, and I really don't want to play those stealth missions multiple times on the Game Boy Color to learn how to play them. Stealth levels in Rainbow Six suck. There's no Game Shark or Game Genie codes that I could find for this game, so I couldn't jump levels or anything, but I will give an honest review of what I have played on this game. The story is the exact same from the PC port. All the characters and operators are here. You visit the same locations, fight the same terrorists, and even have the same objectives. They did not hold back on this. As I have continued saying, this is 1-to-1, and it's really impressive. You have the full planning system, which did actually have a few handicaps to it. Instead of allowing you to have a full team of 4 guys, you can only have a max of 3 operatives per team, but you can still have 8 operatives on the field. Each team can do its own thing, from engaging hostiles, escorting hostages, defusing bombs, etc., and you can seamlessly swap to each team. However, this does mess up their waypoints, so they don't keep moving if you switch back. It's clear all the efforts for the AI went to your teammates and not the enemies, because the enemy AI is very dumb and very weak. In the few levels I played, they didn't really do much against me. They just kind of stand around or maybe patrol, but they're just not good. There is virtually no difference in stats for the operatives or equipment you can use. Breach charges and lockpick kits are pretty much useless because there are no locked doors and they open as soon as you touch them. Guns act the exact same, and since the AI can't hear you, there's no reason to use guns with suppressors. Grenades are difficult to use and, again, aren't really useful. There is, however, a unique position you can go in, where you can actually go prone in a sort of sniper position and have a large field of view. This is really cool because this is the first time Rainbow Six has ever had a prone feature, which wouldn't reappear until Raven Shield in 2003, and then again in Siege in 2015. And it actually makes the game somewhat playable because you can see everything on the tiny Game Boy Color screen. The soundtrack is also really good, and I find myself humming it all the time. The main menu track is very Nintendo Wii, and the level tracks are really catchy as well. Honestly, the soundtrack is the best part of the game, as it works incredibly well for a Game Boy Color game. The sound effects aren't good, though. The shooting sounds are weird, and those are basically the only other sounds in the game. The box art is also pretty interesting. And here's the PC box art, and here's the Game Boy Color box art. I do like that they changed the tagline a little to accommodate it being a Game Boy Color game. This is made by Red Storm, so it's not some third-party company making it, which is actually pretty cool. I'm still confused on why the game is rated E, though. There is a level where children are taken hostage, and the game has blood in it. I'm pretty sure one of the later levels has a briefing with some curse words in it, too, so that would be really funny to see in an E-rated game. I like the in-game screenshots on the back, those are nice, and the manual is actually full color, which is kind of rare for Rainbow Six games. This isn't an awful game, it's just not a good game. It was made for one reason, to cash in on the popularity of the original game and put it on a handheld. Design-wise, it's very impressive, but actually playing it, especially on an actual Game Boy Color or even a Game Boy Advance, it's probably considered torture in most places. There's no multiplayer or anything to actually do after beating it. At the very least, they could have included the Eagle Watch missions as a bonus, though I'm honestly not sure if having extra levels is actually a good thing this time around. It's a nice collector's piece, and I would be lying if I said I don't have any fond memories of playing this as a 6 or 7 year old kid. I played this as a kid, I enjoyed my time with it as a kid, but as an adult, this is just genuinely a bad experience all around.